Hello guys and welcome back. So in this video I wanted to show you guys a way to create some arches and pillars to start creating any kinds of the layout and hopefully get some ideas as to what you're going to be creating in the upcoming weeks. So I'm going to create a circle. I'm going to set this to polygon, and by hitting the W key on the viewport, you toggle between the wireframe and flat shaded, or the flat shaded or the shaded mode. So with the circle set to polygon, I'm gonna change this to open. I'm gonna set it to 180 so I only get an arc. I'm gonna increase this to 360, and let's extrude this. So I'm gonna extrude it, something like that. Cool. And I'm gonna select the outer edge by hand. So I'm gonna select one edge, change this to two edges, select the first edge, hold down Shift A, and then this will give you the shortest path between 2 points. And if you click, you will select the edge. You have to make sure that you're in the viewport, hit Tab, and type in an extrude. And this is going to use that selection. So I'm going to add a small offset, and I'm going to tick on extrude, transform extruded front, and I'm going to scale it along the this axis, which is the Z axis. So I'm going to scale it down to 0, and let's move this up. Cool. So let's extrude this one more time. And let's move it back and tick on output back, so we have something something thick to work with. And for the pillars, I'm not going to use anything fancy. I'm just going to create a tube, and I want to add 2 pillars here. And again, this is just to give you guys an idea. So let's move this here. And I'm going to make a copy. I'll add the transform node and transform this to the other side, and let's merge them all together. Cool. So with this guy, I'm going to make another copy as well. I want to transform it back like that, and I'm going to extrude these 2 guys. I want them to be just straight, flat. Something like that. And let's merge all this. Now we have a section like that. Okay, and for it to be repetitive, we have to, sorry, the extrude was not correct, so let me change this to 0, turn on transform extruded front, change it to global, and let's move this down. Cool. So I want to make this modular system, so I'm gonna add a copy node, copy and transform, and let's copy this 4 times, and let's move it, maybe move it this way. And you can see we have an overlapping pillar in there, so we need to remove one. Let's disconnect this. So now we have 1 pillar, but as we copy it, we get they are additive, they're combined together. Okay, now with this guy, let's maybe add something to fix the roof. So I'm going to select this, I'm going to extrude it, I'm doing everything in the viewport. I just want to show you guys how to create some geometry to get some layout going. Extrude it one more time, and let's fix the connection now. This guy here, this guy here. Cool. So let's merge this part. and not this. Okay, something like that. And let's extend this more. Cool. So we have something just to close there. And now we have pillars created. Let's keep copying this. And basically what I've done with this layout is I had a very simple geometry that I started with to find out the scale and ratio of all these blocks. It's really hard to teach you guys the technical part as well as the think about the artistic side. So unfortunately, I'm going to be showing you a lot of techniques, and hopefully you guys will have some idea as to what you can create from that geometry. We're going to be looking at various sections of the Gothic architecture and trying to recreate those motifs as well. But all in all, what I'm showing you guys is techniques, and you guys have to come up with something to create or a new concept. You'll also be able to follow along exactly what I've done if you wanted to replicate the result that I created or something similar. Cool. So let's say we have this block. Let's move it up. Something like that. And let's create another copy. So here, I'm gonna transform this. Let's transform it up at this point. And I'm going to scale it as well. So I'm going to create another transform. Scale it up. And let's tweak the transform. Cool, something like that. And now we have a small block and a big block. So let's combine the two and try to place them in an interesting way. So let's say this is the main section, and we want this guy to be behind. Something like that. And then we can make a mirror and mirror them along the z-axis. And now we have the somewhat the layout for the environment I did. And then what I've done is I went through each block and created something much more interesting, but I used this ratio to start with. Now what you can do is you can also take these blocks and make something circular. So let me create a bend node. This is a bit tricky node to work with. So we have to tell it the capture direction. So in this case, we want it to go along the x-axis. So see the negative x-axis. I'm going to move this back a bit, so that's the start point. And the capture length, this has to cover the entire section. Something like that. And let's try the bend. So that's not the angle. Let's use Y. Yep. Something like that. We can also do full rotation. Like this. You can see this guy's not making it all the way through, so let's give it some more increments. Something like this. Cool. And let's do this. Let's add another transform. Let's add transform here, and let's merge them all together. And let's transform this block so it connects with this. Okay, and let's make a copy of that and move it to this side. Cool, so this is a different layout. We have to flip this. So I'm going to scale it -1 on the z-axis and move it back. Cool. So now that's a different layout. If you wanted to create something with a circular end, you can do that. And again, it's all based off this block. And in this example here, the block is much more defined. It's much more detailed. There's a lot of interesting geometry in there, and that's what we're going to be hopefully doing in the upcoming weeks. Cool. Let's see. So once we have that, we can, for example, take this guy. Let's make another copy. Let's create a transform. Hit tab, create a transform, connect that. Let's add it here. Let's move it up and do 2 levels. Cool. So we can do that. We can also make another copy of this at a different scale and place it somewhere else as well. So it's just a way of making layouts and figuring out what we're going to be creating. In terms of design, you guys are totally free, and you can do whatever you want. Again, it's going to be tricky, especially if you're new to Houdini, to create something new while at the same time learning, and that's totally fine. I want you guys to focus on fully mastering these techniques, and then you can take it further and start creating your own design. But if you're ready and you're determined that you want to create something, you can start planning a layout using something like this, and then once you have an idea, you can go from there. Now, each of these elements obviously can have unlimited amount of details, obviously. Cool. Thank you guys for watching, and see you in a bit.